Well, good Monday morning to you, and welcome to the Doctor's Nutrition Show. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jim Tabor, your host, along with Drs. Jim and Janine Fox of Doctor's Nutrition, located on Cowan Road in Gulfport, south of Pass Road. Our first live show
this year
of 2018. Last week, of course, was New Year's Day, and it was pre-recorded. So normally the first Monday of the month, we do our open line Monday, but since we weren't here, we're doing it this week.
Right.
So
we can do that.
Everybody had a good holiday?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
we
definitely.
survived it. Yeah.
We survived the game yesterday.
Oh, barely.
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 Oh, that was a tough game. That was a
Yeah.
tough game. But anyway, so what we do on Open Line Monday is we invite you to call in with any questions regarding your health, because that's what this show is all about, living a healthier lifestyle. If you have any health issues that you're dealing with, or someone in your family has something you're dealing with, maybe you have some questions about, please feel free to call in 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. You can either ask the doctors personally or pass the question along to our producer, and they'll pass the question along to us.
Yes.
So new year, new plans. Everybody's trying to do something new and healthy.
A lot of times people's New Year resolutions are to get healthy. So if you need help getting healthy, we can help you do that. And if you have any questions, call.
Yes.
We always are telling people to call in, and don't wait to the last segment when the phones are ringing constantly and you can't get through. Because I hear that all the time. People come in the store the next day, or that day, I guess, because we're on Mondays, and say, I tried to call, and it was, but they always, when I ask them, it was the last segment, and they tried to call in and couldn't. So
there you go.
There you go.
So if you have questions about things regarding your health, you're making you made a resolution to live a healthier lifestyle. That's what we basically are here to do, help you out, put you on the right track, whether it includes some blood work or anything like that. You definitely, that's always important, because when you go to your doctor, they will do blood work for preventive stuff, so to speak. For excuse me, if you're going in for a cold or the flu or whatever, they'll do blood tests for that. They won't do a full panel because insurance companies won't pay for it. And we've talked about that so many times.
Yeah. So you want to come in and you want to get and we just do a much wider range of testing so that you can truly do prevention, because their preventative panels are very small and don't show you much. They might show you your cholesterol, and cholesterol alone is not the issue. Half of all people who have heart attacks have normal cholesterol levels. So there's a lot of other levels that you can check to see if you are at risk. And we find a lot of people that have normal cholesterol and think that they're fine. And we do the other cardiac factors, and they may show huge risks. So that's why I say, come in, do more than just your cholesterol.
The human body is a very complex machine.
Oh, definitely.
It is that. I mean,
definitely.
The complexity is mind-blowing. I mean, when you really get into the biochemistry, it's really
There's still a lot that's not known. People always say, well, I feel this bad, but all my tests look good. I said, there's probably a test that hadn't come up with that test yet. Right. And there are a lot of things out there that don't show it. Now, we look a little closer, do more optimal levels, so you can get a lot more information on how you're doing and where the problems might be coming from. But there is the human body is a complex machine.
It is.
That's
I mean,
sure.
when you look at something even like cholesterol, I mean that is so complicated and so complex. And they're doing it with if you go into your average doctor's visit, if they check it, they're going to check it with what we call the Friedewald calculation, underlying calculation, calculated. Okay, so in other words, it's not a complete test to know emphatically know what's going on in your cholesterol. So even like we do an NMR, it's actually an MRI of your blood, so we can see the cholesterol and count the little particles and stuff. So it's a much more detailed, like Janine was talking about.
Well, it can also tell you if you have the bad kind of cholesterol.
Yeah.
Cholesterol alone is not bad. The really small particles is what you don't want. And when you have little bitty LDL cholesterol. So it really does make a difference in that, and that is only calculated if you do the NMR.
Okay.
So that test we do, and it is available.
All right. Lynette from Gulfport is on the phone with us. Good morning, Lynette. What's your question for the doctors?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out what can I do. I've been to the hospital twice. I know my cholesterol is high and everything, but my pressure's up, and they can't seem to get my pressure down. And they switching my medication, and I can't get my medication because they only cover so much of medicine. Right. And they changed my medicine, so I just can't get my medicine now.
Well, that ain't good, because you don't want to just stop blood pressure medicine.
No, and that's a pretty common occurrence that we hear a lot about.
Yeah.
And I have prescriptions sitting in the pharmacy. I can't even much get out because my Medicaid don't even much won't cover it. They
Yeah.
only give me 5 prescriptions a month. I don't understand that.
One thing
Yeah.
I would probably do is if they've changed it to where they won't cover it, you need to go back to your doctor and tell them they need to make sure they give you something that is covered because you don't want to just stop. That ain't going to help your blood pressure.
No.
Now, diet changes can greatly change the blood pressure. We have people all the time that are on 5 and 6 medications and can't control their blood pressure, and they come in and we change their diet. And they go to a real food diet, get off packaged processed foods, go on a low glycemic diet, and you wouldn't believe the difference in blood pressure after a little bit of time. I mean, anything takes a little bit of time. It's not going to be a day, but it does make a difference. So diet is a big part of it.
And you know, too, Lynette, one of the things that, you know, we do a lot of lab work and to back up what we're doing. And there was a study that, you remember we was talking about the other day, the study just came out, published just recently, about vitamin D in
blood pressure.
in blood pressure and how it changes what we call pulse wave. Notice when you look at it, when the heart beats, it produces like a wave. And that pulse wave, how well it goes through the body. And they did a really good study on it. And they showed that the vitamin D, now it takes high doses, and you've got to stay in the higher levels of the vitamin D.
So if you come by,
Really
we do
good, though.
have the ADK2, and
Right.
and it's inexpensive. A 2-month
Oh, yeah.
supply is like $30.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's real expensive to take, but that would probably be one thing I would start with because that study
Exactly.
did definitely show that.
I mean, it was a great study.
It does,
really was.
and changing the diet. So come
Well,
in and
yeah.
get that, and we'll sit down with you and talk about diet changes and give you a sheet because it really does make a difference.
All right.
Truly does.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Lynette. Yeah,
Thanks for
ADK2 is
that.
one of the items that
Yeah.
that I'm on,
Right.
Because I have high blood pressure,
Right.
Exactly.
and it helps too. But you know, another thing that I was actually reading online this morning in health thing on Yahoo News is all the different things and problems that sugar causes.
Yeah.
And we
Oh,
talk about
yeah.
that. And
we
talk
talk about
all
that every week. And they think
that-
we're lying, right? They think we're just, these guys are full of it. You know?
Anyway, we'll come back, and we had a caller with a question regarding cholesterol that we'll answer here in just a moment. We're going to take a break. Our phone lines are open at 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. We'll be right back. And welcome back to our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. It's the Doctor's Nutrition Show. A caller asks about charcoal capsules for cholesterol. What do you think about that?
Not much.
It's not what well,
Well,
I was
moving
just to
right.
the point.
I mean, activated charcoal is going to probably lower the cholesterol, but you can't do it long term.
Right.
Because what it does, activated charcoal, is it soaks things up in the stomach. So whether it be a toxin, whether it be your vitamins, whether it be your cholesterol, it actually soaks things up and doesn't let you absorb it. The problem is, doing that very long, you're going to start being depleted in all your vitamins. So it's
Right.
not a good idea. Activated charcoal is best used when you've ingested a toxin.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things they will do at the hospital. If you've overdosed on some of your medication and they don't want to pump your stomach, they actually give you activated
Well,
charcoal.
don't EMTs use
So-
that a lot if they
Yeah.
come upon
Yeah,
somebody
but
that's
poison,
overdosed or whatever?
Exactly,
First thing it is.
poisons
Yeah.
because it soaks it all up and doesn't let you absorb it, which is a good idea if
Yeah,
you've
sure.
taken too much of something you shouldn't take. But
it's
cholesterol,
not
you don't
something
want to do
wanna
that.
let-
Exactly.
Yeah,
No,
it's not
no.
a daily
It's not a
thing
daily
if you
thing.
want.
So
No.
there's a lot of things on cholesterol that you can do daily. We do have something called Choleast that really helps cholesterol. Depending on the lipid panel, if people have the high triglycerides, a lot of times lowering the triglycerides with like fish oil will also bring down the VLDLs and the
Omega-3s.
cholesterol. So yeah, so omega-3. So there's a lot of things you can do depending on what your issue is. So I would say come by, let's see what you are individually, but I would never suggest charcoal capsules for anybody for cholesterol.
No, it's just not a, we get this one a lot. People ask about, activated charcoal. And like she said, it's just going to absorb anything you've got in your stomach or in your system.
And we do have activated charcoal because people do want it to have on hand in case something is ingested.
For instance, they've I don't know what, don't ask, but if they've ingested something that they shouldn't have, whatever, then yeah, it's a good idea to do it short term. You just don't want to do it long term.
Yeah, you don't do it
That's the
long term.
thing. Yeah.
I would think that it's in a situation like that they might have something on hand, in case a child.
That's what a lot of
Ingested.
people.
A lot of people keep
A
it
lot
around
of
for that
people keep
reason.
it for that. They do.
Kids
They
are
can
always
get
putting
into
stuff in their
something
mouth
and drink too much of it, or they see them
Yeah.
drinking their bottle of medicine and they, had too much. And the quicker you can get the activated charcoal in somebody, the better. Which is why we have a lot of people that want to keep it on hand.
They just keep it like in
And-
their medicine chest,
Yeah.
as a
Right.
But we don't.
standby.
We've never recommended it on a daily basis for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. This is Open Line Monday. You have a question regarding anything regarding your health, please feel free to call in and give us, ask your question. We're glad to pass it along to the doctors if you don't want to ask them personally. Ann from Gulfport on the line with us right now. Good morning, Ann. What's your question for the doctors?
Good morning.
Morning.
I am right this minute having a problem with my knee that just swelled up all of a sudden. Of course, I have my advisors who say they think maybe I have fluid on my knee or something to that effect. I've never had this before, but I've had my books out, trying to research it.
Did you twist it or did you do anything to it?
No.
Okay.
I woke up with it this way day before yesterday, and it's gotten seemingly increasingly worse. It's very painful. I read some stuff and tried elevating it and whatever, but it's very...
If you had no trauma to it, is that right, Ann?
Yeah, she said no.
That's right. No
Okay.
trauma.
If you've had no trauma and you've had a sudden swelling like that, our advice to you is you really need to be seen by somebody in the medical field, because that's
Because
just no telling.
there's some things that it could be that aren't as dangerous, and then blood clots can also have extreme swelling quickly, but usually it's really hot and tight. But you do want to have it checked because there can be some things that it could be worse,
Right.
not just a knee problem. So that's why you always want to have it checked out. So I would go to my doctor today.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would.
I will do that.
Okay, good.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Let's keep
thank you.
Ann around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Kathy from Gulfport on the line with us. Good morning, Kathy. What's your question for the doctors?
Good morning.
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 My question is, I have a vitamin D deficiency, and y'all were just talking about that. But I have a prescription from my doctor for vitamin D, and it costs a pretty good bit of money, and I was wondering if you carried the comparable prescription for vitamin D, or if I can have my prescription filled there.
I'll take that one for you. I think one of the things when you look at it, your physician is giving you D2
Sometimes.
most of the time, and it's giving you a pill that you take once a week or something like that.
Right, once a week.
Yeah. Typically what we do is we use D3, which is kind of an activated form of vitamin D, and readily used by your body. D2 has to be converted if that's the kind they're using. Some of them are actually switching to D3 now, but D2, especially if that's what they're using, has to be converted. Now, to answer your question about, we have some very inexpensive types of D. D's not a real expensive nutrient anyhow. And the one that we favor is the combination of the A, the D, and the K2. It gives you 5,000 units. So if you're taking, say, 50,000 a week of your D2, typically the 35,000, if you take 5,000 each day, that 35,000 will actually do as much or more than that big dose of, and it costs like $30 for 2 months. Yeah.
So we have a lot of people that come in and
Yeah.
do that instead of really D is better taken with K2 and A.
Right.
So you're probably going to get more benefit from doing the ADK2 than even the prescription vitamin D.
Yeah, because it takes all three of those fat-soluble
Yeah.
nutrients to actually do certain things in your body.
Sounds very logical from what I remember from anatomy and physiology.
Well, like I said, come back
There you
because
go.
that's one of our biggest sellers because there's so many people with the vitamin D deficiencies.
Yeah.
And we even have people, and I've even had doctors call me and say, I've given my patients D and their D level isn't coming up. What would you do? I've had a few call me because they're like, I know that's what y'all do. And I'm like, yes, what we would use is ADK2. And they're like, okay, I'll send them over to get it. And then the ADK2 does increase the levels. So we find it work actually better. And we've even had we have quite a few doctors that send people to get that product because it is so good.
Right.
Wonderful. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
very
you.
much.
Oh, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate the call.
All right, real quick, we got Tim from D'Iberville on the line with us. Good morning, Tim. What's your question for the doctors?
How you doing?
Hey.
Good, good.
I have high blood pressure. I take Korg and Novast 3 times a day.
Okay.
And recently I went in the hospital for 2 weeks with low salt.
Ooh, yep.
They rushed me to the hospital. They gave me 2 1-milligram tablets 3 times a day with meals. So I went to the new doctor. He took it. I don't know what he said. My my blood salt was all right, because when I came out of the hospital, it was all right. But with high blood pressure, should I be taking all that salt?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, blood pressure and salt are not actual enemies, so to speak. I know you hear that a lot, but you have to have salt. It is so important to your body that they've actually put you in the hospital and gave you salt. Because without it, your nervous system cannot function.
And there's even some new research that showed, yes, way too much salt can actually make high blood pressure. But the new research shows too little salt can also make high blood pressure.
Same thing.
Because the body tries to compensate.
Should I continue taking the salt then?
I would, but I'd have my
2
levels
grams,
checked.
3 times a day like that?
You need to have your levels
You need
checked.
to have your levels checked regularly.
Well, I had it checked recently. He said my levels is all right now, but I think it was like 120.
Ooh, that's real low.
Like that.
No, that's
That's
still
real
pretty
low.
low. Yeah.
And we've had patients over the years, that's their problem. When they come in, they've been in and out of the hospital, and when we look at their lab work, I'm like, it's your salt. It's too low. And it can actually kill you to have no salt. So it is something that you do need to watch.
Even though it's normal right now, I should continue taking my salt.
Right, because it's normal because you are taking it. If you stop taking it, it could go down again. Because salt is up and down daily. It's one of those things that it doesn't
The
just.
druggist told me I had to take it for the rest of my life. That's all right.
It's possible.
Possible. What you need to realize is you got something going on that needs to be determined what that is, because there's a system in your body that its job is to control the minerals, sodium, potassium, et cetera, and so on. And you need to look at all that stuff at some point to see, okay, are the adrenal glands working like they're supposed to? Is the brain doing what it's supposed to? What's going on?
Yeah, we always try to find the underlying reason on why the salt's not holding. And because it's not normal for the salt to drop that low. So if you come in, we do a lot more lab work to find out what's going on. So that could be an option for you too, to see if there's an underlying problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for the call, Tim. We're going to take a break. Got a couple of other callers online, and we'll answer their questions and come up with this week's special in just a moment. And welcome back to our final segment. We have Jean from Gaucher on the line with us. Good morning, Jean. What's your question for the doctors?
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, I wanted to ask about, I have a fatty liver.
Okay.
And I was told I can take curcumin and turmeric to help that. Is that true?
Well, it'll help, but the first thing that you have to realize is what caused that fatty liver, and that's your diet. And that's what we really, we have to change that first. There's really not anything, that's going to, so to speak, get rid of that fatty buildup in that liver.
If you're still eating what you're
If you're still eating the same thing. In other words, if you're still doing what got you there to begin with, you're just going to keep having a fatty liver.
But we do see a lot of people can reverse the fatty liver.
Oh, yeah.
If they
it's
change their
reversible.
diet and take things like curcumin and milk thistle. We even have a product that works really good, we found better. It's called hepatotone.
Right.
And it does have a mixture of things in it. But it works really good for fatty liver, but you always have to change the diet.
Oh, okay.
So if you come by, we'll talk to you about that. But you can actually do something for it. It's
You
not
can
where
turn
you
it around.
can't turn it around, but you are going to have to make some lifestyle changes along with what you take.
But
to help
the good thing is we're there to help you and
Right.
answer any questions and stuff to help you understand what you have to do.
Okay.
That's what we're there for. That's
And
our
the,
job.
great, and the great thing about it, Jean, is that there's no charge for a consultation, and you
Right.
don't have to make an appointment.
Right.
Okay.
Just come on by.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
all.
thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, Lisa from Gulfport called. She says she's just moved into the area from California and wants to know what else you offer at your store and why you offer blood tests and panels, which will kind of lead into this week's special.
Right.
Okay. Well, Lisa, the thing we do is we do functional medicine. And being from California, you may have heard of that. And that's where you look at restoring normal function to the body. And one way you know what is dysfunctional is through your lab test. And then you determine from that lab test what you might need in your particular case to restore that normal function. Might be low vitamin D, could be anything.
Now we do only do natural medicine. We do
Right.
not do prescriptions. So if you
Right.
want to know, just so you'll know. But if you're one that likes to do the natural ways, and we definitely can help you. Now we don't do appointments, like we said. We do it a little bit different, actually a lot different than most places.
A lot.
You can come in at any time. There's a doctor Monday through Friday available. Me and him are there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Dr. Bull is there Monday through Friday. So you can come in and we'll sit down with you, see what kind of your needs are, see what you need done, and then we can kind of go from there. And I guess, like you said, it's a lead into this this week's
week's,
special that we need
special,
to get
yes.
to by the end of the show, which is our super panel. And last week when we did the expanded panel at a little bit reduced price, we had such a big response, but we had a lot of people that wanted to do the bigger panel. So this week they kept saying, well, why don't you put that one on sale? So we did. The super panel really does do a lot of lab work.
It's a super job.
It really does.
It does.
I mean, it does. That NMR that we talked about, which is the MRI of the blood for your cholesterol, it does that. It does all your basic lab work, kidney, liver. It does your thyroid. It does extra tests on thyroid. It does adrenals. It does your pancreatic enzymes. It does all your hormones. It does all the extra cardiac risks. So people asked about cardiac risk earlier, and we talked about there's other tests other than cholesterol. It does the homocysteine, the C-reactive protein, the fibrinogen, the CK, that test has a list. It really does a lot of lab work. And this week it's $300. It used to be $370, and we've actually decreased it this year anyway.
Yeah.
And so we decreased it to actually go to $350, but for this week only, it's going to go to $300.
Yeah, and it's kind of back to Lisa. You know, this is what we do. We get a really good price on list of various lab work like that, and we pass it on to you, the consumer, rather than charge so much. We keep it reasonable. I don't like to use the word cheap, but reasonable. And if you can make it reasonable, affordable. There you go. Affordable.
And the super panel also has your urinalysis.
Your-
I mean, it's
oh,
hard
yeah.
to.
All
It
your
does
hormones,
your
everything.
magnesium, your ferritin, your folate, your B12, your vitamin D. I mean,
Yeah.
you start look. It really does a lot. It's hard to remember everything just off the top of my head, but it does a lot of lab work.
All right, we have
Yeah.
Carrie from Pass Christian on the phone. Good morning, Carrie. What's your question for the doctors?
Yes, I have a question. I have psoriasis severely bad in my elbows, and I've tried all kinds of creams, flaxseed oil. I just wonder what you would suggest.
The first thing that I always suggest to people, Carrie, is some dietary changes. I mean, it's just you know, this is number one. This is our step one. Stop all of your grains, you know, the bread, the rice, the cereals, anything made with grains. Stop that and stop all dairy. I mean, any dairy, cheese, milk, yogurt, all that stuff. Stop everything.
And honestly, a lot of people's, it's an internal problem, which is why the topical creams and stuff just don't get rid of it, because it's a problem within the body. And a lot of times it can be other food allergies as well.
Right.
But the two of the big ones that do affect the skin are the grains and dairy. We even have a panel that we have a lot of people with skin problems do, and it really does make a difference when they change it, but that panel is pretty expensive. It's like $775, but it checks for 327 different allergies. But the first thing we would say, grains and dairy. And I would do fish oil, not flax oil.
Yeah, I was going to say that, you know, that was step one would be the dietary changes. Then step two is let's start doing some other proper nutrients that are known for the skin like that. And we've got a formula.
And the liver support.
Yeah, liver support formula is always a really good one because it helps the liver detoxify. And a lot of times that's just toxic stuff coming out of your skin. And you know, there's even some things specifically for the skin that we might do, our Dermal Max, you know, various formulas we've got for that. So there's a lot we can do for that, Carrie.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your call. All right, our time for this morning is about up. Next week, yes, it is.
Yeah.
We appreciate everybody's calls and questions. We will be back next week talking about
Fibromyalgia.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So be sure you tune in. And again, if you have a question you want to ask ahead of time, you can email me at jtabor@wlox.com. We'll address it next week. Or of course, you're always invited to come in or call in, and you can go in to Doctor's Nutrition.
Right.
As they said, they're open 6 days a week, Monday through Friday from 10 to 5:30, Saturdays 11 to 2. That's only for pickup. So anyway, have yourself a great week. Stay dry. Drive carefully if you're out in this mess.